I have a question for you. Are you growing or are you just going through the motions? Do you know that the difference between success and frustration is often one word: growth? Join me in the part 2 of the G's of life. All right, welcome, wherever you may be, wherever you may be at, wherever you're watching this episode from. I want to thank God for your life. I want to sincerely appreciate you for joining the podcast, the ABCs of Life with PIA. My name is Pastor Isaac Abiara, and I'm so excited. I'm really elated that you have chosen to join this podcast. All right, last week, we started to speak about the G of life. We're now in letter G. All right. We started in ABC. If peradventure you are just joining us for the first time and you're wondering how do I get all the other ones, the alphabet from A to F that we did, please click on this channel, subscribe to it, and make sure you share it. And you can go back to look at all the previous episodes so that you can catch up. The Lord bless you. All right. The G's of life, part 2. Last week, we stopped at, we began to speak about the principles of growth. And that, number one, growth is intentional. That if you are going to grow, or before I even say that, we define growth as expanding capacity. Expanding capacity. I'm not going to go back into it. Please make sure you go to the episode from last week, and you can follow on that one. But growth generally is expanding capacity, becoming a better version of yourself, becoming better, becoming sharper, becoming wiser in every area of life. And we said last week that growth is intentional. That's number one, under the principles of growth. Number two is that growth requires mentorship. You need the right mentor in your journey for growth. And that number three, growth requires change. You cannot be in the same position that you are in and expect that you are going to grow. Even the Bible says you cannot put a new wine into an old wine skin. Listen, you can pray. You can't be praying for promotion and resist growth. It is impossible, because God does not prepare people. God does not promote people, but He promotes those who are prepared. God does not promote people. He promotes those who are prepared. And that is why we said this is now the fourth principle of growth, that growth involves challenges. When you determine to grow, to expand your capacity, you must understand that there will be challenges. In James chapter 1, verse 2 to 4, the Bible says, consider it pure joy when you face diverse temptation, challenges, and trials of any kind. It now says, knowing this, that the testing of your faith worketh patience. And let patience have its work, so that you may be complete, lacking nothing. Trials that you go through, they produce in you maturity. That is why wherever you are going to grow, growth involves challenges. It is imperative that in the journey to expand your capacity, you will face trials, you will face challenges, you will face difficulties with people, you will face difficulties of different kinds. One of these days, maybe when we get to letter T, when I talk about tests and trials, I will tell you the 7 kinds of trials man has to go through. Sometimes you have to go through the time test. Sometimes when you want to grow, it takes time. So you must understand that growth involves challenges. The 5th principle of growth is that growth attracts favor. The more you grow, the more favor that comes your way. In Luke chapter 2 verse 52, we read it last week. The Bible says, and Jesus grew in wisdom. He grew in favor. He grew in wisdom. He grew in stature and in favor with God and man. The more Jesus was growing, the more he found favor. So if you grow, growth requires or attracts favor. Growth acts like a magnet that attracts favor to your life. When you grow in skill, when you grow in character, favor follows you in business, in career, and in ministry. It must follow you. When you grow in your skill, when you grow in everything that you are doing, when you grow in your capacity, favor will undoubtedly follow you. Now let me tell you about the hindrances to watch for if you are going to grow. Some hindrances you must watch for. Number one, you must watch for what I call complacency. The reason why many people don't grow today is because they are complacent. They are in their comfort zone, and what you don't know is that when you are too much in your comfort zone, comfort kills potential. In Amos chapter 6 verse 1, Prophet Amos, through God, was speaking. He says, woe to you who are complacent in Zion, and to you who feel secure in Mount Samaria, you notable men of the foremost nation, to whom the people of Israel come. You cannot grow when you are complacent. You cannot grow when you begin to dwell in your successes of the past. This is the reason why many don't grow. Are you in business? Thank God you did well in business several years ago. Sometimes your methods have to change. Ministry, your methods have to change. The way we do things now, it has to change. You know, gone are the days when people carry files all around. Now, everybody is using computers. Everything is digital. Everything is IT. Everything is AI. So, you must understand, if you are complacent and you think, well, thank God for all the degrees you have. But listen, you will not be shocked if I tell you, kids, children, young people who don't have the degree you have, they will be able to do more because they know technology. So that is why you cannot sit on your laurels and think, well, I've accomplished it. I've accomplished what? I've accomplished it. After all, I have these things. No, you cannot be complacent. It says, woe to those who are complacent in Zion. Number two, what is the second thing that hinders growth? Pride. Pride says, I know it all. I know everything. I don't need to learn anything. There's nothing you can teach me. Do you know there are some people who live like that? They think that nobody can teach them anything. They think they know it all. Can I tell you something? Even your children can teach you something. One of my mentors told me one time, he said, everybody that you meet, you can learn from them. No matter how small, no matter how old they are. Anyone, you can learn from a baby. So, when you have pride in your heart and say, you know, there's nothing, what does this one know that wants to teach me? In Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18, the Bible says, pride goes before destruction. If you are going to grow, you must be humble. Remove pride from your life. Number three, why hindrances to growth? Why people don't grow? Fear of failure. Listen, growth demands courage to stand and try again. Growth. If you are going to grow, you cannot be afraid to fail. Can I tell you, the Bible says a righteous man will fall 7 times. He says 7 times he will rise up again. So don't be afraid to fail. Sometimes when you fail, it's a way for you to know how not to do it again. The story was said of Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb. He had tried the experiment several times. He kept doing it, But he had a positive mind about it. He said, I just learned several hundred ways to not do it. So growth, if you are going to grow, you must not be afraid of failure. You must have courage. In Joshua chapter 1 verse 9, God told Joshua, have I not commanded you that you must be strong and courageous? Don't be afraid. Listen, has God given you a message to take a step of faith? Go and do it. Don't be fearful, don't be afraid. When you are afraid, you will not grow. Growth happens when you are courageous. Number 4, why is it that people don't grow? Lack of discipline. Lack of discipline. Listen, there's no growth you will have if you don't have structure. A business without structure will not grow. A family without structure will have issues. A church ministry without structure will not grow. Yes, there might be a lot of people coming, but there will not be a sustained growth. Yes, you can make money in your business and say, you know what, hey, listen, I'm making money. Yes, but there will be a time when lack of structure will catch up to you. If you are not disciplined as a person, you will not be able to grow personally. You will not be able to grow spiritually. You will not be able to grow professionally. You will not be able to grow socially. You must be disciplined. Your life must be structured properly. And these are the things you must do to grow. As I begin to round up, let me give you 3 or 4 points. How can you grow consistently? Meaning that how do you experience consistent growth in life, in your profession, in your career, in ministry, in your education, in anything? How? Number 1, you must invest in knowledge. Don't stop learning. Read, attend trainings, attend conferences, learn from mentors. This is very, very important. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 7, the Bible says, wisdom is the principal thing. It's principal thing in all you're getting. Get understanding. Learn. Invest in knowledge. Listen, there's some money that you are using to buy vanity stuff. Invest it in books. Invest it in conferences. Learn more about your trade, your whatever profession that you're in. Learn more about it. There's nothing you are doing on the face of this earth that you've known it all. So if you are going to grow, invest in knowledge. Number 2, cultivate proper daily habits. Daily habits of prayer, of planning, of reflection. Review your goals. The daily habits of eating right. The daily habits of not wasting time on mundane things. You must develop proper daily habits. Number 3, to grow. If you want to experience growth consistently, you must stay connected to God. God is the source of wisdom. Right? He's the one that gives, he's the source of man's wisdom. The Bible says in Genesis chapter 1 verse 5, it says, if any one of you lack wisdom, let him ask God. Number 4, to grow consistently, make sure you serve with excellence. This promotion comes after service. And whatever you're doing, whatever you are serving, you must make sure you serve excellently. You do your work excellently. You are diligent in whatever you are doing. You are excellent in whatever you are doing. This is how you grow consistently. And finally, make sure you evaluate your progress. Look at your life. Examine yourself from 1 year ago, from 5 years ago. How are you doing? Are you growing, or are you still at the same place? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Where? Because that's part of your growth process. When you look at yourself and you visualize, okay, 5 years from now, this is where I see myself. Brethren, growth is God's will for you. Spiritually, financially, mentally, and professionally. Don't just go through life. Determine to grow through life. Let me say it again. Don't just go through life. Determine that no matter what, you will grow through life. Bible says, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 18. It says, the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. Let me leave you with this question. Where have you stopped growing? What step do you need to take this week to restart your growth journey? Respond back to me on your chat. I want to hear from you.